last week I did what seemingly everyone on BookTube was trying out, and I swapped my phone screen time for reading time. My phone screen time was at a solid 2 hours and 50 minutes a day. Most of that is social media. I wanted to swap that out with reading, see how many books I could read, see if I could get back into a habit of like reading before bed. So I tried this out for a week. It was definitely an interesting time. I'm gonna send you over to Vlogbella. She's gonna take you through the week, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about some key takeaways and talk about a couple of books that I didn't quite finish in this vlog, but that I was also reading at the same time. Without further ado, let's bring on the books.
There was a walking stick at the front door of my cottage, and I took it without thinking, then set off toward the back of the property.
What's up, everyone? It is Wednesday afternoon, and I have started and DNF'd a book already. So I started this journey on Monday, so now it is Wednesday. The Lunar Cats by Lynn Truss. It's a horror book about a retired librarian who has to overcome evil talking cats. Now, I read that and I thought that sounded so fucking hilarious. I thought that sounded great. I was on board. This is a very fun book. It's super funny. There's little pieces of it that are absolutely hilarious, but I don't think a single thing happens in this book. Like, I was at 72% when I just decided I did not care anymore to read this. And there's like maybe been 2 plot points. I literally couldn't have cared less about any of the characters. And then it didn't really feel like a horror, and I wasn't really sure what the horror was, and I should have seen this coming, but there was some animal cruelty, and I was like, nope, I can't do it, not gonna read it, can't do it, don't even care about it, not worth it. Also, it's a sequel, which nobody fucking cared to say anywhere on anything. I don't feel like you need to read the first one because she goes over the first one pretty significantly in this book. I just didn't like it, which is a bummer. So I'm also currently reading Disfigured on Fairy Tales, Disability and Making Space by Amanda Leduc, and that is fucking fantastic. I started that yesterday. I'm about 3.5 hours into the 8-hour audiobook, so that's been fantastic. It's so good so far. I absolutely love, I mean, y'all know I love fairy tales. You've seen my channel. I also stopped at the library today, picked up 4 new books here. I think I'm gonna be picking up The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern next, which is a book I'm so excited about. Things are going well. I've noticed the most difficult thing for me right now is like weird in-between times where I don't have a lot of time to read. 15 minutes at lunchtime, or like 20 minutes in between me finishing work for the day and like making dinner. There's like weird spaces in time that I would usually be scrolling on my phone. I'm already enjoying not being on my phone as much. I'm resting a little bit more. I'm sitting in my thoughts a little bit more, not even just reading, just like enjoying the quiet. You don't have to fill up every space with something to do. Yeah, I'll check back in with you maybe when I'm like about halfway through this guy. So it's Thursday, so I've been doing this for 3 days, and all I want to do is sit on my phone. You can see Breath of the Wild in the background. It's been a long week at work, doing work, lots of different kinds of work, and I'm tired, but we're not scrolling this week, so The Starless Sea. I'm already like 160 pages into this, and I started it yesterday. Wild. And I love it a lot. I'm so into it. It's so good. I will talk about it more when I finish it, but I thought I'd just check in and tell you that I want to be on my phone. But I'm not going to, because content. So it's Friday, and all of Canada seems to have decided to join me on my reading instead of scrolling anti-social media time because Rogers had a national outage. So I woke up this morning with phone calls to make that I can't make, which I thought you all would find funny. So instead, of course, I naturally went to the library. Got a shit ton more books. I picked up Summer Sons, which I'm gonna be buddy reading with Jem starting Sunday, which I'm very excited about. And then I just got like a truly obnoxious amount of graphic novels. If I read any of these for this vlog, I'll explain what they are. I'm a little over halfway of Starless Sea, a little over halfway of Disfigured. Happy Friday. Happy no-sell coverage. I have finished The Starless Sea, and this is probably in my top 5 favorite books of all time. So this is about Zachary, who it's a portal fantasy. He's like a grad student who doesn't have a lot of friends, falls into this book, and it's just like a fantasy world that is dedicated to preserving stories. And he is helping out a couple fun characters to save it from people who are trying to destroy it. That's like the gist of this. I can't possibly explain how this book made me feel. Erin Morgenstern, I think I said the same thing about The Night Circus. It was very whimsical, very lyrical. It's so whimsical. She does such a good job at like getting you inside the story, like super just wrapped up in it. And it's just lovely. It's just lovely. Honestly, it was like 90% vibes. It didn't even have all that many plot points, I don't think. Normally that would bug me, but I like did not care. The characters were so strong, the through line was so consistent, and I felt like every new thing was just such a creative representation of stories and the impact of stories and how we can present stories to different people in different forms of art. The whole thing was just gorgeous. I think everyone should read this. Expect to hear me talk about this book a lot. I fucking loved this. I loved it so much. I literally stopped reading it and just wanted to like pick it back up and read it again. It's been a long week. I'm tired. I just finished editing the video that's gonna go up tomorrow. This would be a time where I would love to sit on my goddamn phone. But I'm not gonna do that, and I also don't want to start a book. I need to give myself at least a day to like decompress from this, I think. So I think I'm gonna play some Animal Crossing, which it's not scrolling, it's not social media, so it's not reading, but it does not affect my screen time. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm excited to be able to like scroll on my phone again. All right, friends, we are back from the vlog. I hope you had a good time. I hope Past Bella treated you right. Let's look at our results. So I went from 3 hours to an average of 1 hour and 8 minutes. So that is down 60%, and that's pretty good. I have like stuff that I still have to do on my phone, you know what I mean? Knocking out 2 hours is a fantastic. If you look at this, the Sunday before is like super tall in comparison to the other days because I thought that screen time started on Mondays, not Sundays. So that's my bad. 1 hour-ish, 50 minutes-ish is probably closer, but that is pretty good for me. Let me talk a little bit about the books that I read but didn't quite finish in this vlog, and then we'll talk about some key takeaways. You know that I DNF'd Lunar Cats. Just not for me, you know? Sometimes that happens. And then you also know that I finished The Starless Sea, which was friggin' phenomenal. Top 5 book of all time. I was also reading Disfigured by Amanda Leduc, which is a nonfiction book about how disabilities are portrayed in fairy tales and how that impacts our view on disabled people in the world. Pre-Grimm era fairy tales all the way into the present. And I did not finish this in this vlog. I got about 50% through it, but I have finished it by now, and all I really have to say is it's fantastic. I learned so much, and I really love how she contextualized fairy tales, both for the time period that they were introduced and for present time. Super enlightening. I highly recommend that one. The other book that I was reading during this vlog that I did not get a chance to finish, because I mean, obviously, Jesus, is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I was buddy reading this with Fran, and she tapped out on me. I'm not going to talk about this a lot because I will probably talk about this in the future, but I gotta say, the writing almost feels like a debut. It's super clunky. The structure is really weird, and it's really boring. There's that's a lie. There's 2 characters that I care about, but they're in the same like setting, so I only get them like every 10 chapters because there's a bajillion characters in this book. And I asked my fantasy book group if it picks up at all, and they were basically like, it's super horrible until about page 750. And after page 750, then it picks up and it becomes the best fantasy series of all time. So, that's all I have to say about this. I don't blame Fran for tapping out. I kind of wish I could, but I bought all 4 books because I expected to like them. So, we're gonna keep chugging through this. But that is the other book that I was reading this week. I got 250 pages into this guy as well. Oh, and then I also read some graphic novels. I tried out Lock and Key by Joe Hill. I thought this was the first one in the series, but it's actually like the first one after the initial saga, and I think it was bad. This is the most boring, lame thing I've ever read in my life. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about what was happening. There were no stakes, and it took me like literally 10 minutes to read. So 10 out of 10, boo. Maybe it's different if you've read the initial saga. I've watched the show, so I like knew the context of it, so I figured that this would be fine, especially because it's following all new characters, but I didn't care about them at all. The other one I read, though, was fantastic. Fables, Legends in Exile by Bill Willingham. Fairy tale characters are living in New York City, and it's a noir. You have the big bad wolf as the sheriff, and it's like a mystery, so you're trying to solve the mystery of this person who's been murdered. This first volume is great. All of the female characters are fantastic. The artwork is super stylized and super gorgeous. It's so much fun. I was engaged the whole time, so I definitely recommend this guy. It was just like a genuinely good time. That is 4 books that I finished. 2 graphic novels, 2 traditional books, half of an audiobook, and a decent chunk into Way of Kings. So like almost 1,000 pages in a week from doing this. On that note, let's talk about some key takeaways. I don't know if I actually read more than I normally do, but I do feel like I was more present in my daily life, forcing myself not to be on my phone. I don't know if I actually swapped all that screen time for reading time. I'm happy that I wound up swapping a lot of that time just for like actually just being in the world of the living and not in my phone, you know what I mean? Key takeaway 2, I remembered I like reading before bed. I know that might sound silly. I used to read before bed all the time, but I got into this habit of like getting up early and I like reading in the mornings. Through this process, I couldn't sit on my phone before bed, so I had to read something, and it is so nice to read before bed. But the opposite of that is my key takeaway number 3, and that is that sometimes all I want to do is scroll on my phone. And that is also okay. Sometimes we want to be distracted from things. Sometimes I want to scroll through people knitting stuff on Instagram. Sometimes I want to look at cat videos. Sometimes I want to have something that makes me giggle. Let's all face it, the world is hard right now. The world kind of sucks. It's okay to scroll on your phone, is what I'm saying. I don't want this to be like a,
your phone is bad, I'm gonna throw my phone away, I'm gonna get like a flip phone.
No. Social media is still a valid thing to spend your time on. I think it's just about balance that a little bit better. My 4th takeaway, I was so excited to get to go on my phone again that my screen time went from an hour and 8 minutes a day to almost 3.5 hours a day. That's pretty bad. That is a solid 40 minutes longer than I was before this journey. I think my fourth takeaway is this would be way more of a beneficial experiment to do for a whole month and not for just a week. I think about 30 days of being really, really active, of not being on my phone all the time, would probably get me into a habit of just not picking up my phone. Whereas over this week, I still had the habit of picking it up and being like, oh shit, I just clicked on Instagram. I think after a whole month, it wouldn't be a thing I had to think about, it would just happen. All in all, let's wrap this up. I think this is a good experiment. I think this was good for me. I think this was fun to create around. I didn't feel inundated with doom scrolling or distracting myself from doom scrolling by scrolling through something else. You should absolutely try this if this is something you're worried about or you care about or you want to like actively change your social media or your scrolling habits. I think this is absolutely something you should try. I mean, why not? But I do think if you want to see lasting change, I think the challenge should be 30 days and not a week. I don't feel any lasting change from this. I might try this again in the future as a month-long challenge. Maybe I can bring you guys in on it. We can do it all together. Let me know if that's something you would be interested in doing with me. I think I would really benefit from doing that, and I'd love to like do it with other people and keep everybody accountable. But yeah, all in all, this was a great experiment. This was a good time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, want to see more book-related content. I also just launched a bullet journaling channel, so if you miss my reading journal videos or you like that kind of content, I'll put a link up here and you can go and check that out as well. I'll see you guys all next week with my tarot TBR.